Now we're going to move into 7.2, and in 7.2 we're going to start taking a look at solving exponential equations and inequalities. And this is a pretty straightforward few concepts that you need to understand, but like I said, pretty straightforward. The problems are a little bit simpler than stuff that we've been doing for a while, which is good. So we're going to kind of learn three things here. Number one is, what is an exponential equation? It's an equation where x is in the exponent. Compound interest is interest that is calculated on principal, which is the amount that you put into an account, and then also on the accumulated interest. So as interest accumulates, we're going to include that as well. And then exponential inequalities. And exponential inequalities just means it's an inequality where x is in the exponent, just like with the exponential equations. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to take a look at some of these explorers. So 2 to the x equals 8. What we want to do anytime we have these types of, and these are all, by the way, these are all separate here. And so when we have 2 to the x equals 8, we need to get this base, this 2 here, and the base over here to be the exact same numbers. So here's a 2, this needs to be a 2 as well. So notice I just rewrote them. So of course, 2 to the x, if I want to rewrite it with a 2 as the base, just becomes 2 to the x, just exactly as that is. 8, however, is written as 2 to the third power. So that means once we get them into the same base, then I can assign the powers to each other's. But the bases have to be the same for me to do this, so x equals 3. In this next one, we see 4 to the x equals 16, so this stays 4 to the x. Of course, 16 is just 4 squared, and therefore x equals 2, because we have the same bases there. Notice here we have 3 to the x equals 81. So of course this stays 3 to the x. 81 is really 3 to the fourth power. Now how do I know that? Because 9 times 9 is 81. 9 is 3 squared times 3 squared. 3 squared times 3 squared is 3 to the fourth, because we add those powers when we do that multiplication. And now we have x equals 4. Okay, now it gets a little more complicated. Now notice we have 9 to the x equals 27. Well, of course we can't, 9 squared is 81, not 27. We're not looking for multiples that go into that. We're looking for powers that go into that. So I have to convert 9 to 3 squared, and I have to convert 27 to 3 to some power. So in this case, I'm going to convert it to 3 to the third, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So now notice we have the same base. However, notice this is 9 to the x, so it has to be 3 squared to the x. So that's going to be an x there. And then when we have 3 squared to the x, that really just becomes 3 to the 2x. That equals 3 cubed. Now we can assign the powers. So we get 2x equals 3, and x equals 3 over 2, because we divide both sides by 2. So that's kind of how we're going to be working these problems. We're going to have to be converting those bases. So of course they become the same, so we can assign the powers. And that will always be our first steps. So we're going to start working on some problems in the next video.